It's extras and epilogues. Open the theater! Lights! Cameras! Action! Movies and reviews, things you might not have known. What happens when the credits roll? Let's get on with the show!
A vampire grants a report of the story of a lifetime, his epic life's tale of love, betrayal, loneliness, and a supernatural hunger. And at the start of the show, I would like to disqualify Tanner's review.
Because he's doing the TV show, not
because
the movie?
he won't shut up about the damn TV show, so I know it's going to poison his review of the film.
It is not. Well, maybe wait and see.
I don't have to wait and see. I already know.
The turnaround was so fast. It is not. Well, hang on.
I'm going to write down Tanner's review on this card. Well, I don't have my camera on. Damn. I could turn it on, but it looks terrible. Yeah, fine. I'll let it go. My name is Shane Young. Welcome to Extras and Epilogues. Theater's open. Blah, blah, blah. And tonight we are continuing Fangoria Fuck Mondays. What do we call it? Movies that suck.
Yeah, maybe. We kind of abandoned that concept real quick. It's just vampire movies. It's just vampires.
It is vampire films, but I believe the official name was Fangoria Movies That Suck.
Movies that suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, movies that suck.
Yeah. Not Fangoria Fuck Mondays. I had someone...
I don't hate it. That's not it, but I don't hate it.
I had someone message me today on Snapchat, and she sent me a picture of herself just like looking bored into the camera, said, "I'm so bored, what do you do on a Sunday?" And I said, I was working on a music project today. Do I know you? And she sent me another picture of her like kind of pouting, and she's like, "We matched on Tinder." But this is after, by the way, this is after a long conversation where I was trying to pry out what exactly was going on with this person. And she kept sending me like little selfies of herself. And finally, I asked her, because I asked her, "Do I know you?" And she said, "No, we matched on Tinder." And "Where are you from?" And I said, "Southeast Missouri." She's like, "Well, where in Southeast Missouri?" And I was like, "Where are you from?" She said, "I'm from around here too." So finally, I asked her, "So how long ago did we match on? How long ago did we match on Tinder? Because I hope I didn't keep you waiting too long." So as I send that, she sends me another selfie, and this time it's her with her pants down, showing off her underwear. And she said, "We matched last week." And I felt like Ben Affleck, because I was like, bullshit. I haven't had Tinder in like a fucking year. So I messaged her back and said, I was wondering when we were going to get to this part. Like, I basically gave her some pointers on how to run a scam better. I wished her luck, and we moved on. All right. Interview with the vampire. Let me introduce the other guest for tonight. First up is Double H.
I'm not going to give you a quote this time. I'm going to start with this. If I had a nickel for every time that Louis Dupont Dulac lit everything around him on fire, I'd have three nickels.
Yes.
Which isn't that many, but it is weird that it happened 3 times.
I told that to Lindsay. I said, by the third burning, I went, man, he sure likes to set things on fire.
I almost messaged
pyromaniac tendencies.
I was going to say, I almost messaged you and told you I was going to change the summary from the one that you gave, which is the very, epic, like covers the whole thing, to a pyromaniac vampire is sad for centuries.
And sets things on fire when his anger and depression gets too explosive.
Exactly.
God, there was something from, I assumed you were going to give me the choice that you never had.
Oh, that's coming later.
No, okay.
That's how you end it. It's like the movie.
Lindsay, perfect timing, Wolfgang.
Hi, I'm here because it's about pretty vampires this time.
Lindsay is kind of the Louis to my Lestat, I love her.
I don't set everything on fire.
No, but
I guess she emphasized everything there. Let's dig into that. That's what the show's about.
If I could murder you, I would legally. If I could get away with it. And Tanner's here with us tonight.
We cut it off right there.
I do have like a lighter right here by my computer, but
I've got alcohol around me. I can douse myself so quickly. Make it look like you did it. Tanner is muted. All right. Well,
He's already tired of our shenanigans.
well, greetings from Asbury Park from Tanner Calvert, who is here, I assure you, but he's probably dealing with something important, so we'll move on past him for a second. And you know, one thing about this film that bothers me, and it did bother me, it's the only thing that probably bothered me, like truly bothered me. I sent a message to you about it. Is when Brad Pitt got bit. When Brad Pitt got bit, he already had long hair. We can only assume that Lestat also had long hair. When Claudia gets bitten, that ratty ass chaffy hair turns into fancy, Paris hair, and I don't understand that part. Like, I get vampires are beautiful and they never change, but I forgot that when you accept a vampire's DNA inside of you, your hair becomes beautiful against your will.
And you can't do anything about it.
That's
that supernatural glamour shot.
That's forced hair coercion right there. And I don't appreciate it.
But the weird part about it is then they look weird facially. Like,
he's got the little veins.
Drains of blood.
Yeah.
Like that's not beautiful. Why does is the hair like the trade-off? Like, look, we can't do anything about the skin
we got
the blood,
hair,
but we'll fix that hair.
We'll
fix that
eyes.
mop on top of your head.
Yeah. Like, I get she was dirt poor, but they could have just combed the roaches out of her hair and explained it that way. They didn't have to supernaturally. They didn't have to give her a supernatural weave. I don't know.
I got it.
Let's get to the
supernatural
stats.
weave.
Hey, Lestat, let's get to the stats. Released November 11th, 1994. Directed by Neil Jordan, who also did The Crying Game, which I think starred Stephen Ray as well, if I remember correctly. That's the movie where a lot of straight men were introduced to their first transgender sexual arousal. And I'll never forget the Simpsons quote where Joe Quimby says that chick's a dude, or that chick's a man, and everybody boos him and he goes, I mean, man, that chick was hot. Yay! Tanner's back.
Oh my god.
I think.
I am.
Yes.
There he is. Okay. He also did In Dreams and I almost said Malloy, but it's Marlowe.
Malloy is a different thing from this film.
Yeah,
Marlowe came out in 2022.
No one knows Marlowe. No one knows Marlowe.
It's got Liam Neeson. It's got Diane Kruger.
Yeah.
It's supposedly a very good movie. I haven't seen it.
I thought it was Marlowe and Me, starring Owen Wilson and that dog, but that's Marley.
Marley and Me.
Yeah.
Marlowe's like a noir crime film kind of thing.
No, everyone's got a type. Written by Anne Rice, who authored the Vampire Chronicle series. This is, I think, book one, right? Because there was then the Vampire Lestat, and then Queen of the Damned.
Yeah, and there's way more than that, if I remember correctly. I think unless it's a different series. Yeah, I was gonna say she did a whole bunch of things.
Alaska.
And all of them were equally as successful as this. That's the crazy part.
I've never read any of them.
Well, I haven't either, although we do have a very cool, it's not like an original copy or whatever of Interview with the Vampire, but it's a very cool reprint from, I think, the 80s with this super, shiny gold cover.
I like that.
I was grabbing it's behind me.
Anne Rice is if Laurel K. Hamilton is it Laurel? Not Laurel K. Hamilton. Who's the one that writes your books? That's where you write your books?
I'm pretty sure she started hers after Anne Rice, though. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I'm well aware. That's what I'm saying, is that Anne Rice is was the originator of the sexy horror books, and then Laurel K. Hamilton looked at that and said, I can take that, but put it in actual sex and sell it.
Again, they didn't start out that way. There's 7 books that are normal, and then it goes to that territory.
I think this is from the 90s. I think it's a 90s reprint because it says something from the 90s in the back. It's also got kind of the ragged edge pages, which I really like.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
The movie dumbed down the sexualness of the story,
which I'm perfectly fine with. By the way, I remember growing up with this movie and I noticed all the homoerotic kind of interactions between the characters. I think you have to walk a fine line in America 2025. I know you're going to bring that show up about 15 times during this review. So
You're the only person bringing it up.
have you read? So you've read all the books?
I read Interview with the Vampire. I'm getting ready to buy the Vampire Lestat.
Better than watching the sequel, that's for sure. It's the sexiest cast you've ever seen. Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Antonio Banderas, Christian Slater.
Well, he's too sexy.
He's too sexy.
But he must.
That's the sound you make when you hit the top of the desk, if you know what I mean. Yeah. As I often say that, what is that movie that we watched? While You Were Sleeping is what made me straight. Sandra Bullock in that film. It's important to note I saw that film before I saw this film because the street could have turned the other direction.
Well, I just assumed you were going to say when you saw this one, then you were like, well, shit, now I really don't know.
I told Lindsay while we were watching it that in watching it, I think this movie had way more of an influence on me than I originally thought because so many of my characters are basically Lestat. That kind of aristocrat, bratty, prone to furious anger and irritation. That's like 80% of the characters I make, and they're always blonde and they're always good looking. So I think Lestat in this film was a huge influence on everything that I did. And Tom Cruise knocked it out of the park as Lestat. Look, I don't care that he doesn't have a French accent. I much like Anne Rice. And I also went, are you sure about that? But Hunter, as we have in the trivia, even she was wrong.
Yeah, Anne Rice was full-blown livid when she found out that Tom Cruise was cast as Lestat. She said it was, quote, so bizarre it's almost impossible to imagine how it's going to work. I didn't include the whole story here, but she also left the set. She refused to come to the set when he was working, but later on she was so impressed by his performance because one of the producers, after the movie had come out on VHS, sent her a VHS copy, knew that she was still a holdout, and said, you need to watch this. She did watch it, and she was so impressed with his performance, she hand wrote him an apology letter. They made up pretty quickly immediately after that, and then when the film came out on VHS in the 90s, or like the mid-90s when they did like the full VHS release, she recorded a 2-minute video at the beginning of it. It was like a little pre-feature, basically just talking about how much it had done for her work and all that. So fully admitted when she was wrong, which I can appreciate. I can imagine in the 90s being a big fan of this series, if you were, and finding out that Tom Cruise had been cast, going, are you fucking kidding me? Because our generation's version of that is Heath Ledger as the Joker. Right?
Yeah.
It was, everyone heard that and went, there's no fucking way. That's never going to work. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever
Joker.
heard. And then they do it, and you go, well, I guess I better shut the fuck up forever then, because
it's almost like these casting agents sometimes get it right. You never know.
Right?
And how weird is it?
Crazy.
How weird is it to hear Tom Cruise has been cast in your film and going, fuck?
Right?
Like that's just wild.
And even at that time, because remember, he had been steadily acting since the 80s. This is like 10 years into his career, at least.
Right? So he was hot as fire.
Oh, hell yeah. He's done Born on the 4th of July. He's done Top Gun, obviously. He's done, what the hell did we just watch with him? Well, everything, but in July.
The case of the killed soldier. The hell was the name of it?
You're right. That's A Few Good Men. A Few Good Men.
Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah, I don't see how you can watch Tom Cruise in A Few Good Men and then go, well, there's no way he's going to be good for my movie. Like, I understand those are very specific kinds of movies, but still.
But who looks at the range of Tom Cruise and then says, I don't know if Tom Cruise is going to be able to pull off this attractive vampire?
I guess really what it comes down to is he's not really French, even though he's supposed to be pretty staunchly French. And the stuff that he was doing up to that point was not really period pieces. It was a lot of military drama where he was kind of the cocky, sometimes chauvinistic character who, comes around to really save the day at the end of the day. Lestat wasn't that. And I wonder if that was her concern, was that this guy doesn't get a redemption arc. He's not going to get better. He's not going to become a better person as the movie goes on, and he's not the protagonist. He's not the person we're really going to follow. He's the bad influence on the protagonist, and we need that from him, which, of course...
He's what became the breakout star of the series.
Right, and if you want to make a comparison character-wise, this is why you know he's going to work as the villain in Collateral. We talked about in Collateral him kind of playing his one main villain role. You could argue pretty heavily that he's antagonistic, at least in this movie. And I think if you watch this and then go, yeah, I need him to be that, but for the whole film, Collateral makes sense.
And then you got Brad Pitt slumming it around as I never thought of Brad Pitt as much of a historical actor either. And to me, this was kind of like when they put Keanu Reeves in the role of Jonathan Harker, except Brad Pitt, did well. And Keanu Reeves looks like he was drowning as Jonathan Harker.
Right. Brad Pitt, if you want him in a period piece, the first thing that comes to mind for me is not this, it's Legends of the Fall.
Legends of the Fall,
He's much better in that, for that kind of thing. It is bizarre to me that Brad Pitt, who's a guy I really like as an actor, by the way, fucking amazing in Fight Club. He's great in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's actually one of the main reasons I like watching that movie. But which I guess is also a period piece to a certain degree. But it's wild to me while I'm watching this movie. I said it out loud. Sarah loves this movie, by the way, so she was there for the ride with me. I said it out loud, and she agreed with me that it's bizarre that of the principal actors, Brad Pitt is doing the least enjoyable job in this movie.
He's
not bad.
He's trying to portray that sense of like depression and centuries long sadness.
It's not there,
but it comes across as boredom usually. But maybe at this point he is bored. He is bored of existing. It's layered. I think that's like an onion.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's us putting it on there. I would love to believe that's the case, but it didn't feel like an intentional choice. I can ascribe to that and make it work for me, but it didn't feel like he was doing that on purpose.
Well, we got more stats to get through real quick. I keep saying the stats, and I like to think it's the stat. Runtime of 122 minutes. Oh, yeah, because I was saving her for last. I'm glad you reminded me. Kirsten Dunst.
Well, and also because you said that they were all very sexy, and I was like, please don't say Kirsten Dunst.
No, good Lord, no. No, but it's that exact thing that makes her character so memorable is she can't be sexy, and she can never be sexy because she is stuck as a little girl for eternity. This was, it's not to give my reviews away or spoil anything, but of all the actors in this movie, for Kirsten Dunst, who I think was probably like 11 or 12 when this was filmed, to hold her own, 10 years old, and holding her own with legends.
Yeah, no.
Not just holding her own, matching them punch for punch and occasionally outweighing them. Like, again, when it's just her and Brad on screen, she's the better actor of the two of them.
It's her
she
interactions.
Goes toe-to-toe with Tom Cruise regularly, and it's just incredible.
That's what I'm saying. Her interactions with Lestat are my favorite parts of the film because, it's such a dysfunctional family, and they have so much fun doing it. Tom Cruise, look, I want to get to Tanner. I'm definitely going to get to Tanner here because I know he has a lot to say about this. I'm not trying to keep him off or anything, but I just want to say that Tom Cruise, for all the concern that they had for him playing the role, and maybe he's not entirely book accurate to what Lestat is supposed to be, and I'll say it so Tanner doesn't have to, because he showed me some clips of the actor who plays Lestat in the TV show, and he was very good. And I think he probably fits that character better, but no offense to the guy playing Lestat in the TV show, but acting-wise, he's not Tom Cruise. There's a reason Tom Cruise was on top of the world for so very long. His portrayal of Lestat in this film is both fun and frightening. He, to me, it kind of embodies what they were going for with the vampire. Beautiful but dangerous, with just that hint of carelessness, and I don't know. It was a very good performance, is what I'm trying to say. We got more stats.
Agreed.
We got more stats, then we'll get to it. So, Budget versus Box Office. Oh, runtime 122 minutes. It is it's a long one, but guys, you're going over an entire lifetime, and these fuckers live for a long time. Budget versus Box Office: $60 million versus $223 million. Critical reception: 63% critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes is 6 out of 10, 62 out of 100 on Metacritic, which is generally favorable. Cinema score of B+ on an 8F scale. What the fuck do you pigs want? Seriously, you fucking mud-sucking pigs out there. You give this a B+. I've seen what you give A's to. This is why the country's in the fucking shape that it is, because mouth breathers like you are out there running the country, and intelligent people are left in the fucking dust, and they're sitting there jacking off in a corner to shit. Fucking movie.
It was 30 years ago.
Pisses me off so bad.
But also, yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, the cinema score is almost always just audiences being polled coming out of the theater, and by and large, this is a smart movie, and we're not a smart race. So it is what it is.
Thankfully, Roger Ebert is here to add a little bit of common goddamn sense. 3 out of 4 stars from Roger Ebert, my hero, who said, the movie never makes vampirism look like anything but an endless sadness. Well, not if you're Lestat. He loved that shit. And that is its greatest strength. Vampires throughout movie history have often chortled as they'd gotten away with something, but the first great vampire movie, 1922's Nosferatu, knew better, and so does this one. Yeah, that's kind of the whole point of the film. And that's the point that Christian Slater's character does not get in the end. And that's what one of the only like 3 times in the movie that Brad Pitt emotes, and he does a really good job at it, like when he's threatening him. But anyway, all right, let's get
Right at the end.
Right at the end, just ties it together. And then he still gets upstaged as Tom Cruise comes for one last appearance. Fucking pulls the little frills out of his sleeves and everything.
You know, the only thing I don't like about that final bit is I hate that fucking cover of Sympathy for the Devil.
Yeah.
Just get the fucking original version. I don't even know who does that cover, but as soon as it started, I was like, ugh, God, I hate this. Just play the Rolling Stones and call it good. Sarah goes, I don't know if they can afford that. And I was like, I think they would have to pay the Stones anyway because it's their song. Right, yeah. You can pay. You can throw a little extra cash toward the Stones for the actual song.
If you were not alive during this time period, you have no idea what you missed out on, because Interview with the Vampire was it. It was the socks your parents put on in the morning. This thing was cozy and it was beloved. I always remembered when people talked about vampire movies until Twilight came out and kind of stole the title. This was the vampire movie. You know, vampires, I was thinking about this earlier, and I'm gonna try to remember what I was thinking. Vampire films and vampires in general, they're kind of divided off into specific time periods, and the movie kind of dictates where the vampires go, kind of like with zombies. You know, you had the classic zombies, which were the voodoo zombies. It wasn't until George Romero came along and made zombies flesh eaters that, well, now they're all flesh eaters. That's what the zombie is. He reinvented the wheel. And then, you know, 28 Days Later or Dawn of the Dead remake, I forget which one did it first, so please, I forget which one was first. They brought out fast zombies. Now all the zombies are fast, and you kind of have these characters change, or this you know, monster change over time, kind of reinventing the wheel over and over again. And vampires are the same way. You had Nosferatu, obviously, in the beginning, which was a, you know, Dracula ripoff because they couldn't afford the rights to Dracula. Let's just be honest, that's what it was. Right. Then you had Dracula with Bela Lugosi. Well, go ahead and name that off real quick, and then I'll get back to my point.
Oh, so real quick before I get into it, it's Guns N' Roses that covered Sympathy for the Devil here, which is like, I get it, it's 94, but fuck off. It's also part of the reason Slash left Guns N' Roses, so, you know, I can blame it for that too. Anyway, so yeah, from the trivia, Louis dismisses vampiric lore throughout the movie like a weakness to garlic and crosses, Transylvania, and Count Dracula himself as, quote, vulgar fictions of a demented Irishman.
I love that line.
He just insults Bram Stoker there. But the necessity of coffins and weakness to sunlight are still in the movie, and ironically, neither one of those things are authentic either. They were invented as plot contrivances for Nosferatu in 1922, which in and of itself is, again, an unauthorized adaptation of Dracula. So it's very funny what they chose to take and not take, and it's all inaccurate.
But then Dracula came out in the 30s, I believe. I don't remember exactly when, but I want to say it was the 30s, maybe a little after the 30s. And then Bela Lugosi's Dracula, that was it. That was the vampire until 31. And I think it pretty much stayed that way until Fright Night came out, and vampires went from, you know, beautiful seducers in creepy old castles to actual humans that become monsters. And then I think the wheel was reinvented with The Lost Boys, because then they modernized the vampire and brought it into, you know, that 80s, that late 80s, and gave him the 80s style and gave it the MTV feel and the flair. And then this movie comes out and kind of reinvents the vampire again. We're back to beauty, but like in a major way.
So just before Fright Night, you would have had, because Fright Night was one of the ones that very much popularized it, but the 79 adaptation of Salem's Lot, which is not a movie, it's a TV miniseries, but that was, you know, taken from Stephen King's book, and that was when it first started kind of pulling away from the
Nosferatu style more, the monstrous looking ones. Yeah. So vampires kind of,
you also had, don't forget about Blackula from 72, obviously, the blaxploitation Dracula.
Yeah, Blackula actually very important to cinema.
Yes.
You know, like incredibly important to cinema. Yeah. And then today, I think Twilight is probably still king of the vampires to this day, right? I mean, there hasn't been correct me if I'm wrong, there hasn't been a vampire film that's come out in the past 10 to 15 years that's been incredibly important, I don't think.
Other than what? Let the right one in?
Sinners. Yeah, Sinners. I forgot about Sinners.
Well, Sinners is great, but important is a strong term. I think it's a great movie, but I don't know. It's important in the way that Ryan Coogler showed that he can make a movie that will not get a sequel.
I think
if it's handled correctly.
I think Sinners less changes the vampire character and more creates a world around the vampires that we haven't seen before with the music and stuff like that, because we've never had a vampire movie that was infused with music and so much soul. You know, God forget the pun. Anyway, let's get back to this film. I've tangented way too long. I'm sorry. What is this? What is this movie about? So. This really is a classic story of a man down on his luck. I forget his name. Louis Dupont Luck, or what is it? Dupont Dulac.
Louis Dupont Dulac.
Dulac. He loses his wife and child. He begs for death. A vampire, Lestat, who is watching him from afar, takes him up on his offer, turns him into the vampire, and the two travel the world, get into all kinds of shenanigans with each other. Louis doesn't want to feed on people. He feeds on rats and vermin and the like, while Lestat constantly tries to push him towards killing. A young girl named Claudia is introduced and becomes kind of their surrogate daughter. It's a period piece, and that period piece goes over like 200 plus years. So it's a very interesting film about a basically family of vampires trying to find their way through a world that's constantly changing. And I will say this now, because I forgot until I watched this movie again. This movie, to me, has the most frightening scene in a vampire film ever. And it's from the point of view of the vampire. When Claudia and Madeline are put in the hole and wait for the sun. Chamber. That part bothered me when I was younger, and it still bothers me today, because you always see vampires, they see the sun, they catch on fire. It's a staple, right? But they've never done it. They've never done it to where you feel sympathy for the vampire. They kind of did in 30 Days of Night, but it was completely different context. And then Blade also did it, Blade 2. Sure. Yeah. But like, it's never done, one, because it's a child actor. This is not, this is a child terrified for her life as the sun creeps up to kill them. That scene alone has stuck with me my entire life, and it did not change when I watched it today. It's as effective and frightening today as it was the first time I saw it. So I wanted to say that off the jump, because I think that is one of the all-time great moments in vampire cinema history.
Well, and then when you see what happens, when you see the aftermath, and it's not just, there's a pile of ash, or, they're, actively on fire. That stuff sucks, like when you see that happen. But when you see the like ash statue of them left behind, almost like it kind of reminds me in a way of that's what I was going to say. It kind of reminds me of the Pompeii kind of setup, where you can see what was happening in that final moment. And I think that's what, if Brad Pitt, emotes well at a moment in this movie, that's one of those times, because him getting angry is one thing, but the way he throws himself against the wall as soon as he sees that ashen form of her before it collapses is just it's fucking sad. I thought for sure, by the way, when you said scary, you were going to talk about the moment that Lestat shows up behind that piano.
No, that's awesome.
Can't quite see his fucked up face.
That's one of my favorite moments.
She saw this when she was way too young the first time, and it's to the point where now she was doing other stuff. She's like, I can picture exactly what's happening in this movie as long as I can hear it. I don't have to see it. I know what's going on. But as soon as that part came up, she was actively doing something on her computer, and she goes, I hate this fucking part. I was like, wait, what? She goes, this used to scare the shit out of me when I was younger.
Yes, because it's almost like a haunted house. Like, there's the knock at the door. They don't know who it is. No one's there. They start to leave. They hear the piano start playing, and it's gonna be bad. Yep. You don't quite know what's there, but it ain't good.
How bad can it be? Well, ask the alligator. His blood helped.
I cannot praise Tom Cruise enough for this film. Yeah, God, I modeled so much of my life after Lestat, except the training and the looks.
The murder.
Actual vampirism and the...
Tanner... let's start with you here, because I know you're gonna have trouble reviewing this without without comparing. And I don't mean that as a, no, I don't mean that as an insult. I don't mean that as an insult. It's just human nature. It's the same thing when we reviewed Aladdin, the animated film. How many times did I bring up the live action one, even though I said, well, I'm not going to compare them? And then I did many times to the annoyance of everyone. So I want to go to Tanner first and get his thoughts on this. When did you see this movie the first time? Because when I saw this movie for the first time, it was probably the late 90s. I think this was on like HBO. We may have rented it. I did not see this in theater, but I saw it somewhere, and I just remember, because I'd never seen a vampire movie like this before. I was that cinema score of B+. You take me to this film back when I was a kid, and I would have been like, well, that was boring and gay. Now
that was exciting and gay.
Yeah, now it's like that was exciting and gay, and I loved it. So,
oh shit! I hate how accurate that was to the '90s experience.
Yeah, no way. We watched this movie when it came out and went, well, they're all straight. Yeah. I bet they're drowning in it. You know, no. So Tanner, when did you see this the first time, and what did you think originally?
I am not one of the OGs that seen it in the 90s when it came out. Brandy and I were together when I seen it, and we've been together 18 years, so it's not been very recent, but it wasn't, 30 years ago.
Did you read the book before you saw the film, or did you see the film first?
I seen the film first.
Yeah, you couldn't pay me to read a book, honestly, but I love...
I didn't know you could read.
Well, I can read. I just don't like to read,
There was waiting on it. Well, you can't watch a book.
No. I can read a book and imagine it's Tom Cruise, but I'd rather see Tom Cruise playing the piano,
Sure.
I love how genuinely not... I don't want to say frightening, because this movie's never really scary, but there are so many genuinely creepy parts. The atmosphere is incredible, especially when they're in the South, when they first, become a family, and there's the creepy swamp, and they live in the little mansion. There's the slaves outside who are basically singing and dancing to ward off the evil spirits that are them. There's there's so much atmosphere in this film. It drips with it, Hunter.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll give away a little bit. Well, it does what it should. Anyway, I exceptionally love that first part of that. New Orleans as the stand-in for, or not the stand-in for, but the sort of surrogate France for Lestat is amazing. Obviously, there's a huge French connection to that, no pun intended, to that area. And the setting of the time frame there, plus the actual locale, plus what's taking place, it works beautifully for me. I am personally not as big a fan once they actually go to France, and there's a lot of things happening when that is the case. The first half of this movie is amazing to me. Really, no notes. I love every bit of it. The only nitpick I have, honestly, it didn't even occur to me until Sarah pointed it out, was that I can't quite figure out what. Well, no. Actually, the hair actually didn't bother me, but until you said something, you son of a bitch. But the thing that got me, and she even pointed it out, she pointed it out first, I should say, was I can't quite figure out what the logic or reasoning is behind when people do and don't notice what vampires are doing to them. Because some of these women never seem to notice anything is happening, and then they're just dead. And some of them, the moment that something happens, they freak the fuck out. And my thought at the time, because she brought it up, she's like, when he bites her chest, like, she notices instantly something is wrong, like within a couple seconds. When Louis bites the servant woman's wrist, she notices instantly. And yet some of them, they're feeding on their neck, they're feeding on their wrist. He's already punched her wrist. They don't give a shit. They just sort of die. And I was like, well, maybe it's that charm thing. They never really talk about the vampiric charm in this movie, but that's a common thing, that they're able to sort of like keep them charmed. But you think it would work better on people that they know. And then that tends to be the opposite case. Well, so
I think it's a couple things. My theory on this, because I noticed that too, and I created my own story in my head here, but all the times that I can remember when they did freak out, it's simply because Lestat let them. Like, Lestat killed everybody he wanted to kill silently. They kind of let him do whatever he wants. The girl that he bites on the chest, she only notices what's wrong when she looks down and sees all the blood, and then she freaks out. She didn't feel the bite. It was just a kiss to her, basically. And that's because Lestat had walked away from her and told Louis, hey, go deal with it. Louis I don't think because he rejects what he is so much, he does not have that ability. So when he bites the servant girl, it's just like being bitten. He has no charm. He has no vampiric power. But they kind of explain it later on when they meet Armand and everybody, and they're like, they're going to have powers that are different from ours. You know, some can read your mind if you let them. I think.
Well, even Lestat says that when he first compels Louis to read the older woman's mind, he says, read her thoughts, read what she's thinking, and he can't do it. And he says, well, we have, different gifts. We all have different. The dark gift gives us different, abilities or whatever it is. He says, and I don't hate that explanation, but I do wish it was. I should say. It's not that I wish it was a little clearer, because I think it is just a nitpick. I don't think the movie needs to spend time saying, here's why some people do and don't notice. But I think when you know to look for it, it's like, it feels like the real answer is they notice when the plot needs them to notice, and they don't when they don't. And that's really all it comes down to.
I don't know why the plot needed their hair to grow out when they became vampires. That really bothers me.
It was the 90s.
Look, again, they don't even make, like, when it comes to Claudia, her hair literally, as she's turning, gets curly. And I go, why?
Yeah.
I almost took a point off just for that, because it irritated me so much watching it today. Also,
again, I think, dude, the 90s was hair obsessed. They talk about this on Pod Meets World all the time. That Boy Meets World was a hair show. Topanga, Sean, it's all about the fucking Eric. It's all about the fucking hair.
It is.
And the 90s just
Why do you think Asa and Dalton aren't on the show anymore? Jesse's real pushing my luck.
He's fucking so close. He's on thin ice.
He's so close.
On thin fucking ice. But yeah, I mean, I really do think that's one of those things where it's just a product of the time. The movie was made in the 90s, and the product of the time was that the hair was big for attractiveness. It was a big deal.
They also did Lestat wrong. Like, his death scene, the first one, is also something that lives in my head forever. The way he freaks out from drinking the dead blood, and then she slits his throat, and the way he falls over, and the life is drained from his face. He almost looks ghoulish immediately in that moment. And that combined with the blood seeping and Claudia saying, Louis, and he has to pick her up because the blood is getting closer.
Yeah.
I always was so sympathetic towards Claudia when I watched these movies the first time, but rewatching today, I was like, what a little bitch. Like, I don't think she...
part of why you don't change children, because they can't mature. And then any urges that they would get as an adult just kind of turn into violence because they have no other way to release those emotions.
She would have been very popular during the Epstein-Trump years if she had stuck around a little bit longer. Well,
she didn't really have a choice.
No, they
got locked in that sunlight well.
And I felt so bad for the other woman, Madeline. She was literally a vampire for about 10 seconds, so they snatched her up and killed her. I was like, good God, she didn't even do anything.
Yep. Oh, I never quite got there earlier, but once they leave, I think everything up to the point that they leave New Orleans is amazing. I mean, there's nitpicks, whatever, but I'm fully invested in the movie at that time. Everything from Louis' initial transformation to getting all the ground rules laid out to bringing Claudia into the fold and all the problems that creates. The moment they go to France, I'm instantly less interested. Number one, because Lestat's gone.
Yeah.
So we're not seeing him for most of the rest of the movie.
They're so fun.
He is, aside from Claudia, he is the most interesting character in the movie.
Yes. And Armand.
You go to France. Well, man, I don't know. I'm not super into Armand, honestly. He feels like a less interesting stand-in for Lestat. Like, he's part of a group. But the group doesn't like you because you didn't do the rules, but I like you, so I'm gonna be your savior. And I don't know.
He's the ultimate vampire, basically. Like they said at the end. Like, he feels nothing, he regrets nothing. He is the ultimate evolution of what a vampire is. He just exists for the carnal pleasures, and it wasn't until he saw Louis that he felt anything again, and I kind of disagree, because I really love the entire theater part. When they bring the girl on stage and everyone thinks it's part of the show, and they strip her down and feed on her and then just throw her to the vampires to eat, and everyone just thinks it's fake. I love Louis' line of, vampires pretending to be humans pretending to be vampires. And how avant-garde. And I know what's coming. I know it's going to have that incredibly depressing scene where they kill Claudia and Madeline. And I know Louis' revenge is coming after that. And Louis' revenge is one of my favorite parts of the film, to see him just go to town on those vampires and give them what for.
I mean,
I forgot that was so close to the end.
Yeah, if the movie ever feels long to me, it's at that time frame, though. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just less interested at that point. Lestat really keeps me locked into what's happening at most points in time. And by the time we get to France, I'm just sort of like, okay. I don't dislike this story, but this almost feels like it could be a different movie. Like I said, if I ever feel any part of that 2-hour runtime, it's the time it takes to get from the introduction of Armand to Louis getting not double crossed, but like, those people being killed, him being locked away, and then him getting his revenge.
They could have turned this into 2 films, I think, pretty easily. Extended the first half and then And
to be fair, I'm glad they didn't.
Sure.
I mean, to be fair, I have no idea what they're pulling from the book and what they're not, because I still haven't. I've got it. I just haven't gotten around to reading it. So I don't know what is and isn't being lost from here. A lot of times I'll do that research, and I don't want to spoil the book for myself. But while it could be 2 movies, I'm kind of glad it's not. It feels like a fully cohesive story, and the juxtaposition of what happens in France being now Louis kind of has to lead and be the serious one, be in charge, make sure that he doesn't fall too far. I mean, it's the other side of the pendulum, right? Like when he first becomes a vampire in New Orleans, it's okay, here are all the things that Lestat wants me to do. I'm trying to be human though, so I'm not going to do all of that shit. Here's all the things I could give into. The other side of that is, okay, you don't have to give in to shit. Just be the way that we are. And he's like, no, that's also not being human. And despite the fact that I'm not human, I'm not ready to give all of that up. So I do think you need both parts of it. Just personally, the second part doesn't hit as hard for me, but you do need it to come afterward too. It wouldn't be anywhere near as good if it happened first and then you brought in Lestat afterward.
I think it's what makes this film so good is the fact that it is such a huge sweeping drama that crosses multiple timelines. It's an epic. Yeah, they don't make films like that anymore, and if they do stretch it out to 6 films, and they film it in Peter Jackson's patented shit-o-vision. Lindsay, when did you see this film?
I don't remember.
No, she must have.
I
all right.
She must have seen it when she was a child.
I saw this movie.
Like Claudia,
No,
she doesn't remember.
So. I legitimately don't think I saw this until we had some different streaming services. Because I know I never rented it. I don't remember watching it on TV. So it had to have been after I had Netflix and Hulu and I just decided to put it on one day. But I legitimately don't remember the first time I watched it. I really enjoy the film and I've watched it multiple times, but I don't remember when I first did.
The vampiric touch must have got to her brain.
Yeah,
the vampire. I like the way that Dwight mentions it on The Office. He calls it the vampire germ.
Oh, so it's the strain, germ. Or I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's the whole joke is there's a bat in the office, and so Jim starts acting like he's been bitten by it and he's getting vampiric tendencies, and Dwight goes to stake him, and then he stops and he's like, no, I have bigger things to deal with right now. Jim's on his own journey now that he's dealing with the vampiric germ.
If there's ever anything that makes me miss playing Elder Scrolls a lot, it's that I'm a vampire there. And it's very cool that you can be a vampire there. Oh, by the way, we need to jump on that tonight. They have a new event going. I'll take you behind the building and show you where it is. You just got to follow me.
Oh, okay. Hey, wait a minute.
Hey. I remember so many of my friends said that Queen of the Damned was better than this movie. And I kind of believed it too at the time.
They were wrong.
Well, at the time, it was easier. I've seen it. It's not good. It's not terrible, but it's not good. But it... And even Anne Rice said that it was better at the time because, she saw Lestat as more of the Stuart Townsend. That's kind of who she pictured in that role more than a Tom Cruise. But and I like Stuart Townsend. He's one of my favorite parts of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I mentioned it not too long ago. He's Dorian Gray, but he's fine as Lestat. But man, I'm glad, Tanner, I know you're a big fan of the TV show and I want to check it out, but I'm glad they waited so long to do the TV show after the movie, because to try to follow in Tom Cruise's footsteps so fast is just suicide. It's money suicide. You can't do it.
Continuation. They should have tried to just make it a sequel instead of making its own thing.
Yeah, I don't like what they did with that. They recast some of the roles. They kind of and it was just, again, at the time it had Aaliyah in it. It was more. It had less gay stuff. So a lot of my friends were like, "Oh, that's the better film," but they were very wrong, and I was very wrong because this is clearly the superior film in every single way, including the gay stuff, especially the gay stuff.
You did just remind me though that I made the move whether I liked it or not. Queen of the Damned is now
on the
officially
list.
an option for sequel September.
So is Bordello with Blood.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that. I guess technically that would be the case. I
Yes,
should
sir.
do something about that.
All right. You know what? Let's get to the reviews. I think, we don't have centuries here to do this. So this is for you, the fans. You asked for it. You begged for it. You pleaded for it. You even spelled it wrong. But tonight, here is your reviews for Interview with the Vampire on Podzilla
Not just
1980.
a vampire.
There's multiple vampires in this film. Watch it again.
Right.
On this show, we follow a 5-point system. 2 thumbs up, you love it. 1 up, you like it. 1 up, 1 down, you're neutral or indifferent. 1 down, you don't like it. 2 down, you hated it. Most recently, Mortal Kombat Annihilation is the most recent double down still. It's just a truly heinous film that no one should watch ever.
Very bad.
And most recently, Clueless is the I have a feeling, Hunter, that Demon Knight could I got a good feeling about that one.
That I had a whole Back to the Future moment there for just a second. I remembered a thing that hasn't happened yet.
Well, you just thought of something funny you saw on Herman's head.
Right.
That's what it was. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Clueless is the most recent one because you're hearing this show first. And then Demon Knight, I've got a good feeling about.
Who knows?
Who knows what's going to happen on that fucking thing? We might get the Crypt Keeper himself back for that one. But for now, let's go to the reviews. I'm going to start with Tanner. I've written down his review on this. I'm writing it down on this card right now. And I will then pass this card on to Lindsay to verify that it was correct. Tanner, what is your review for Interview with the Vampire?
So, as Shannon has mentioned ad nauseum this episode, I do really, 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 really love the TV series on AMC.
Can't complain.
It is, while different, it changes some things. It's a little bit more book accurate than the film was. It gets to experience more things. And yes, I do like the performance of Lestat in this series. That said, I sat down and watched this film for the first time today in 10 plus years that we discussed earlier. And I found myself kind of enamored with what was going on and remembering how different it was and paying attention to the details. And so long story short, without going into any more details, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up.
Oh, well, hold on. All right.
Here it comes.
Never mind. I had him at 1 up, 1 down. I really thought he was gonna be so poisoned by the TV show.
I was able to disconnect myself, like my brain, from thinking about the TV show. I was able to separate the two, right? And that's a problem a lot of people have when they do stuff like that. And luckily, I was able to sit there and do it. Like I've been rewatching the series because I enjoyed it that much, and they've been releasing teasers for the new season coming out, which is literally just the Vampire Lestat, and then leading into Queen of the Damned, they've announced, who's playing Akasha in the series and everything.
I'm really surprised that show's still going. Not in a bad way. I remember when it came out, when they changed Louis to a black actor, I remember thinking, well, this show's done because goddamn, let black people have anything good. So I'm happy that it's still going.
He does so fucking well, though. And, he blows look, Brad Pitt, great actor. Really is. Fantastic actor. But he is so dull in this fucking movie. And he is the one downside of this movie for me.
All the Brad Pitt fans at once went.
Yeah. So he's the one downside to this movie, but luckily the rest of the movie picked it up and saved it. But yeah, I'm not trying to talk about the series too much. I said my piece. You're the one that keeps bringing it up. So yeah.
All right. Well, I'll accept that. Lindsay, what about you? How is your vampire interviewing these days?
Again, I enjoy this film a lot. I've watched it multiple times. I will willingly watch it multiple times again. But I'm
So
gonna have
loud
to
when
go
I
with
drink.
one thumb up because tonight, while we were watching it, I
That's right.
was falling asleep.
Oh, damn.
Now that might just be because I'm tired. But once they hit Paris and they were at the troop, I was falling asleep.
Lindsay is the kind of bitch that would give this a B+ on the way out of her theater. You bitch.
No, if it was my first time watching it, I wouldn't give it a B+. I would give it an A. But like, legitimately, if I'm watching it for a multiple time and it's not keeping my attention the entire time, I can't give it 2 thumbs up. I'm gonna give it the 1 thumb up. I still really like it. Again, I will watch it again. If people want to do the whole, do you lean towards Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise more in this film? I would be with Christian Slater. He's the one that I like better in the film. But
He smokes.
That part where he's just bleeding out in his own car at the end.
That
Ooh,
really gets you hot, huh?
gets me going, huh?
Get your motor oil burning.
at that time frame, I could have cared less that it was Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise. Like, I was never in either of those boats.
She was in the Slater.
I took it out of the trivia because I just didn't really have room on the page for it. But I'm assuming you guys know that Kirsten Dunst, by the time they did that kiss, was 10 and Brad Pitt was 32, right?
Yeah.
Maybe this is also
gross.
in the trivia. This is one of Jeffrey Epstein's favorite films.
Well, so they both very much said that they hated it, but for different sort of reasons. Brad Pitt, of course, was like, this is wrong. There's got to be a better way to do this, and they ended up still doing it that way. Kirsten Dunst has since said that legitimately she was like, look, Brad was nice, but at that age, I assumed he had cooties. Like, I was still young enough that I was like, well, this is gross.
Well, 10 years old in the 90s, 10 years old now, their girls are 6'7"ing and twerking and, you know.
Well, they got these bracelets, and the bracelets mean different things.
They're souping, Hunter. They're bouncing
When are
on.
they gonna bring out the toads?
They're bouncing on trampolines to perform oral sex on Osama bin Laden. Well, I think Lindsay's crazy personally, and I'm also giving this film 2 thumbs up. I don't care. The hair is the only thing that bothers me about this movie. Legitimately, it is. That's the only. Rewatching it today, I thought this is the only thing that bothers me about this film. But it doesn't get a little boring sometimes. I mean, it's not always action. But I appreciate it so much about this film. The look of it. It is a very mature film. It has very mature dialogue. There's no stupid jokes in here. There's nothing that really throws you out and like distracts you and makes you go, well, that doesn't seem like that should fit in this movie. Even the great films have some part that makes you go, Ghostbusters. We're not going to talk about it again, but you know exactly which scene I'm talking about. But this movie didn't really have that for me. I thought it was great. I thought Tom Cruise was incredible. I forgot how much fun he was as Lestat, and I forgot how much he influenced my character creation from my own personal characters with Lestat. I mean, I wanted to be Lestat, beautiful and blonde, and women and
Lestat.
blood. You know, what was that? What was that?
That's a quote from the TV series and book.
Oh, I thought Urkel might have done it in the 90s. Lestat, you know, Lestat.
Did I do Lestat?
Did I do cheese? Everybody did a great job acting this. I can even give Brad Pitt a little bit of I'll give him some leniency because this is gonna sound so stupid. When I am at my most depressed and my most like, I'm over this, I still try to be polite and I still try to be charming, even if I don't want to be. And that is exactly what I got from Brad Pitt as the vampire in this. And maybe I'm projecting. I accept that. But the way that he does seem bored, but he's still kind of, especially when he's talking to Malloy throughout, he's very nice. He smiles. He's polite. To me, I'm like, that's exactly how I am when I just can't be bothered to be entertaining. Short answers. This is exactly how I feel like I walk around, how I talk, how I act. So again, I'm projecting, but I could feel myself in Brad Pitt's role as someone who sometimes you're tired of life, you know?
I don't want to step on your review, but like my problem with that is he sought him out for that. Like he went to him and was like, I'm going to tell you my story. So I can't buy I don't want to be entertaining when he specifically went to, I can fully buy that for a lot of stuff within the actual story, but in the framing story, I mean, he went to him,
but he wasn't,
and was like, look, I'm going to tell you.
But he wasn't trying to be entertaining. He was trying to warn him. That's why he got so frustrated at the end. You know, he's like, you haven't listened to a thing I've said, because he even says, I'm just tired of it. And, well, that can't be the end. Well, but it is. You know, he didn't seek him out because he wanted to tell him this grand tale. He sought him out because he wanted to warn him about what exists in the dark. He says, you know, publish it, tell everyone that vampires exist, do whatever you want. And he didn't get upset until the guy was like, no, you're wrong. Everything you feel is wrong. You should be thankful for the gifts you have. And that's when you see him get angry. And one of my favorite lines, you know, how do you like being food for the immortals? The way he says that with the eyes, that always got me. I love that scene especially. But away from Brad Pitt, I love Tom Cruise in this movie so much. Kirsten Dunst is, when I think of child actors, I don't think fondly of them, but this is not one of those cases. She's great in this. I mean, she's absolutely great in this. I'm shocked Kirsten Dunst didn't do more. I know she's very popular. Don't get me wrong. I know she's had a great career, but like, other than this and Spider-Man and Melancholia and a couple other things, like, she didn't have the gigantic trajectory I thought she would have based on her dynamite performance in this film. Antonio Banderas is one of my favorite actors ever. Legitimately, I love him, and he's great as Armand. I think this is the one thing Tanner says is better in the movie than in the TV show is Armand. He said that to me over dinner.
At a dinner.
Yeah.
It's, man... The portrayal of Armand is better in the series, but
the
characteristics, the performance is better in the movie.
Yeah, I know. I was reading a little bit on it today. I realized that there's way more to Armand than is in the film. Like, he is... Oh,
Armand is a son of a bitch.
Yeah, he's got way more of an integral part in the history of these characters than the film. But again, I'm just judging this based on the film. And he has an air of mystery to him. He is the mature, sexy vampire. He's what Lestat would have become, maybe, with enough time and patience and maturity. Plus, he just looks badass. Like, Antonio Banderas as a vampire. Well, fucking, I'll suck on something. You just tell me where. I don't mind. Stephen,
oh my God.
Stephen Ray gives a very understated performance as Santiago, which is Armand's right-hand man. He's such a prick. I was so happy when he died, and I was still happy when he died in this. And the way he gets killed, brutal, and it's well-deserved. Cinematography is beautiful. The acting's great. I love the story. It's such a simple tale. There's no world-ending monster. There's no incredible danger that they have to team up to fight against. It is just the tale of people who don't understand what they are, trying to live in a world that rejects them. It's a very good movie. And I think this is probably, I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is my favorite vampire movie of all time. Like, I think Sinners is a better movie in a lot of ways because the music and all that stuff, I just love that stuff. But like, this movie to me is the best vampire movie. It's a sweeping drama with real great characters. And it's hard to top this. I'm glad they did a TV show and they didn't try to reboot the movie because it would have been a mistake. You don't have to reboot everything. Anyway, that's my review. I love this film. Double H.
I'd just like to point out that Kirsten Dunst in a 1-year period was in an Interview with the Vampire, Little Women, and Jumanji. She then went on to do Anastasia, Wag the Dog, Small Soldiers, for what it's worth, Drop Dead Gorgeous,
Spider-Man.
Dick.
Spider-Man.
I mean, yeah, Spider-Man is the obvious one, but like you glossed over Get Over It. You glossed over Bring It On, which is fucking huge.
Sure. What's she done in the past 10 to 15 years?
Civil War.
She did do Civil War.
Civil War is the big one.
But
yeah, Civil War is the big one. And
I mean,
she's got that Roof Man coming out.
It's
That's another big one.
It's kind of a big one. But I mean, like, you can't tell me that she has had the same level of like success as she, I think, deserved. I think she should have been bigger than that. Like
Fargo, she was in one of the whole season of that Fargo.
I've never watched that. I never watched that show.
That's a big deal. She's in Hidden Figures. She shows up in a bunch of other stuff, like, you know, the sequel to Anchorman, whether it was good or not, was a huge deal. She was in a lot of shit. I understand that she might not be a household name or anything,
folks,
but she really was for a solid 10-year run. There.
Really stressing how successful she was in this, and I appreciate the eye to detail there. Yes.
Yeah, there's like a 5 or 10-year run in and around Spider-Man where everyone knows who Kirsten Dunst is.
What did she do after Spider-Man? And I mean that seriously. This isn't me being antagonistic, because I haven't looked it up. Did she experience?
So she took a lot of time off.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
That's when she and Jesse Plemons got together. That's when they started working together or being together.
Do you think there's something to be said about someone who did such varied films being in the big budget superhero movie, and that could affect your career going forward?
Oh no, I don't. Well, I mean, okay, maybe, but in this case, I don't think it was that it affected her career and nobody else wanted to bring her on because she's just Mary Jane. I think she then had the ability to go, I don't want to do any of this other bullshit stuff that I don't want to do anymore. I'm going to do art house shit that interests me, because before that, she was in a lot of that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so from that point on, I'm pretty sure it's just been like, I'm going to work with my friends when they want me to. I'm going to do stuff that appeals to me and is interesting to me, and I don't have to do anything else because I don't need the money.
Yeah, I'm looking at her movies
post.
What
was the Marie Antoinette film she was in? Vanity Fair?
Yeah, no, it's called Marie Antoinette, and it's also very good in its own way. Yeah.
But even that was before Spider-Man 3. That was when she was still in that era. After Spider-Man 3, I'm looking through it, and the only ones that I recognize is Melancholia. Well, hear me out though. I don't mean that as in she wasn't anything. It's just I agree with what you're saying. A lot of what's in there after this is very like, it looks like picking and choosing of what I want to be in, as opposed to give me any role that comes my way.
She's in one episode of Portlandia. You know, that's definitely she did a favor for a friend. She did Fargo because she got the opportunity to do it, but like she plays
Black Mirror. She was in Black Mirror.
I just saw it. Well, yeah, Black Mirror, and again, that's another you take it. Oh, she plays Agatha Christie in an episode of Drunk History. Again, 100%. That was this is going to be fun, and I'm just going to go do it.
But looking at someone like that versus I hate to invoke the name, but a Sydney Sweeney, who also became the it girl and is now just doing nonstop, like, quote unquote, blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster, even though they even though they all underperform at the box office. Kirsten Dunst just did a very different thing.
Talent.
You'll have no argument for me there.
Between the two of them.
Oh, there's a big canyon between one of them. What the hell does that mean? I don't even want to think about it. Just do your review, please. I've had enough attention.
Anyway, I agree with Lindsay. I'm going to go with 1 thumb up for this movie. Now, I'm going to be very clear that this is a very strong thumb up. I think people should definitely go see this film. I think it is, or not go see it. You don't have to go anywhere. I think it's definitely a film worth watching. Right. You know, I think it's definitely something that people should watch. It's a very good film. But I cannot rightly give it the level of straight up 2 thumbs up. I'm kind of with Roger Ebert on this, in the sense that, you know, the poll quote didn't mention anything specific about parts where it comes down. But again, I really just can't get over, for me, when they first go to Paris, how much the movie starts to drag. I feel like it gets a lot slower in a way that is not beneficial to it. Losing Lestat, I understand it's important for the story.
That's the big thing.
Huge.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was the anchor.
Huge.
He was the entertainment anchor through the film. I mean, you can literally count down the moments to when the film slows down is when he's killed, you know?
When Lestat's not on the screen, everyone is asking, where's Lestat?
Like, that's the problem with casting someone like Tom Cruise in that role and basically telling him chew the scenery, you know, because then when he's gone, it's like, well, what do you have now? Other than Kirsten Dunst knocking out of the park.
I was going to say, Kirsten Dunst, and this is the main reason I wanted to harp on that for a second, puts on a motherfucking masterclass. If you're going to watch this movie for no other reason, watch her at that age just absolutely take over the screen and the entirety of a scene. And again, like you said, as a child actor, not in a way where you go, well, that's a kid acting. In a way where you go, that seems like a 30-year-old in that fucking body doing it. And that's perfect for the role, exactly, because, again, over time, that's literally what she becomes.
Right, exactly.
Conflict of, I'm not what I'm supposed to be at this age, and I still have the tendencies I had when I was turned and all that. It's such a fucking compelling story. But that's yet another thing that, again, over the course of the Armand story, we lose. And it's a huge pivotal moment, and it's important. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't lose her there, but again, we keep going back to the character I'm least interested in. That's the biggest problem, is that Louis is a great stand-in and a great like Stranger in the Strange Land type character, because he's the one who has to learn about what vampires are, how do they work, what's going on, become one himself, make his own way. That's an interesting enough story, and it's not like Brad Pitt does a bad job. But I think that the depression or the melancholy, just to invoke that word again, falls a little too much on. I don't even want to say boredom, but it's just a little too. It's like Brad Pitt doesn't know how to be sad in the '90s, which I guess makes sense.
He was Brad Pitt in the '90s. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's just frustrating sometimes for me that I do think it comes back to the least interesting character the most often. And so, yeah, it's a little bit of a roller coaster, right? It's not a full, just constant, I'm always invested, wanting to know what's going on. Again, the moment they hit France, my interest level dips a little bit. I feel myself going for my phone. And part of that is also, I've seen this movie a couple of times.
Sure.
I know what's going on. I don't need to be, fully invested in what it is, but a very strong thumb up, but I can't quite get it. This would be a 1.5 if I were to give you a half grade. I can't quite get the 2. I don't think it's exactly, on the nose what I want to see full blown all the time. But it's pretty damn close. And also, we haven't talked about it enough, but the set design is beautiful. It's really well shot.
Costumes are great.
The costumes are great. The script is amazing.
The score is fantastic. One of those things that's
very good. The score is very, very good.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the parts are all right there, but it's not just the sum of its parts. There's still that element of, do I want to keep at it? And again, I feel like now that Lindsay kind of validated me, like I'm not the only person who, when they get to that part, it's like, this is the least interesting part of the movie for me, and I feel like I should be my most interested here. We're almost 2/3 of the way through the movie. I should be fully invested in these characters, and I was, and then they took away the main one I wanted to see, and that's a problem.
I would give that to you. I would admit, if I would say I'm still going to do 2 thumbs up, but it would probably lean more towards 1.5, 2, because I would be a less of a 2, and you're more of a 1 up, and me of a 2 down. But I think the reason the Paris part didn't bother me as much is simply because I have seen this movie at the 50, 60 times, and I know what's coming. It's like I have to sit through that part to get to the part where it basically all comes crashing down when Claudia dies, when Louis takes his revenge. And so it's just a build up for me. And I think I just look past it because I know the good part that I really love's coming. So maybe it didn't affect me as much, but I completely see what you guys are saying. It's that damn Lestat. It's what happens. Mm-hmm. It's like,
I need that level of manicness.
Yeah, and that was that was the problem with Stuart Townsend, I think, in Queen of the Damned, is that he had no manic to him. Like, he was sexy and he was handsome and he was very like arousing and erotic, but he lacked the spoiled prince feel that Tom Cruise has. Yeah. He feels like a bratty prince in this movie. Which I think, Tanner, you tell that's basically Lestat, right? I mean, he is the bratty prince.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he is. Well, I mean, it's almost legit because his creator is kind of royalty.
Yeah, Magnus, right?
And we'll talk about that at a later time.
And a little bit of trivia. I'll give you this one for free. Magnus is the one that turned Lestat in the comic. He also then went on to become Magneto. It's the same character. Okay, let's get to the ending. Louis concludes his interview with Malloy, prompting Malloy to beseech Louis to make him his new vampire companion. Louis is outraged that Malloy has not understood the tale of suffering he has related and attacks Malloy to scare him into abandoning the idea. I'm gonna stop saying it like that because it's getting on my nerves. Malloy runs to his car and takes off while playing the cassette tapes of Louis' interview. By the way, kids, if you're wondering, cassette tapes, they're kind of like MP3s, but in a physical form.
Oh, they don't know what an MP3 is at this point either.
Ah, damn.
That's
hate these kids.
They just stream it.
Hate these kids. Your 6-7s and your TikToks don't stop. On the Golden Gate Bridge, Lestat appears and attacks Malloy, taking control of the car. Revived by Malloy's blood, Lestat offers him the choice that Lestat never had, whether or not to become a vampire, and laughing, continues driving to Guns N' Roses. Lindsay, go ahead.
Yeah.
So, when he's afraid of the light from the helicopter, when did he learn to drive?
Well, important to notice. Important to
That
note.
is like a 10-year difference.
It's like at least because he said it was 88 is when he found Lestat again.
So not
so like 6 years.
5, 6 year difference.
That's plenty of time to learn how to drive. I mean, Louis basically showed him, hey, that's false light. It can't hurt you. So I assume Lestat started to venture out a little bit more over the years and probably, got himself a nice deal on a Honda.
I guess I missed the time jump.
Yeah, he says it's the 80s.
Drifting off by that point.
Well, he said it was 1988, like you said, and then I don't know that they ever explicitly say what year it is, but I'm assuming it's supposed to be the year the movie is released, which is 94, so 5-6 years. I thought it was a little stranger that helicopter just hovers there.
Just staring in there.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I assume.
I get that it's, Louisiana, it's New Orleans, and there's cops, you hear sirens and all that, but it's not fucking L.A. Like,
well,
why?
I assume they were time-traveling ICE agents. Looking for Armand.
No.
So they could deport him back to Transylvania.
He was gone? Transylvania. But they sent him to Pennsylvania because they got it wrong.
Yes, well, that's where they're sending me. So, sometimes I requested Transylvania. This is what I got. Transylvania sounds like somewhere that Republicans would definitely be afraid to go.
Uh-huh.
It'll change.
That's why they're trying to deport people there. They try to deport them there. They don't want them back. Yeah.
So where does the story go from here? Well, I don't have to tell you anything. There's all kinds of lore after this. There's a movie, Queen of the Damned, which was Aaliyah's last role. It's kind of legendary for that reason, if nothing else. She does a very good job in it, but the movie's not. The movie's not great. There's a TV show which apparently is very good. That's on AMC, I think.
Yeah.
Now season 1 and 2.
Yeah, but I think you could also find it on Shudder or Prime. I don't know. I saw it on something the other day, so you can check that out. I really have nothing to add other than if it was up to me, and this is exactly what the books give us and the continued story. I just want more Lestat. Like, Louis fine. I don't mind Louis, but he is the boring one of the two. Lestat is a much more fun person to follow and be around. Look, as the mopey, depressed one in the group, I know people get sick and tired of me too. They would also rather hang out with Dalton because he's fun and he's charming. He's way more interesting than I am.
Slow down. Let's not be hasty now.
Even I get sick of myself, so I can see why people would get sick of Louis. But I just give me more Lestat. This is a story that is just prime for anything. You could have Lestat in the 2000s. You could have Lestat in 2250. Future Lestat fights, the cyber wolves from Planet Hell.
In the series, you have Lestat in 2025, 2026.
Yeah. You can do anything. That's the good thing about vampires is they're eternal. So, go crazy, go to town. Give me Lestat. Tanner, what about you?
Look, the way the story goes, even with Vampire Lestat and the Queen of the Damned, I think it's perfect the way it is. I wish they would have kept this cast and continued that story on. That's what would have been perfect.
I am a little shocked that Tom Cruise didn't come back for the sequel, or Antonio Banderas, but as far as I know, they weren't even invited. I think Anne Rice, even though she loved his role, I think she still preferred Stuart Townsend to Tom Cruise, which is wild, I think.
Yeah, that's a little strange.
Very stupid movie. Because Tom Cruise, what was that movie he did where he was the rock star? He was really good. It was a musical.
Rock of Ages.
Rock of Ages. He showed that he could pull it off. He's fucking Tom Cruise. He can play anything.
Yeah. For my part of this, by the way, I don't know that I would try to pitch a sequel here because I think this is one of those stories that ends really well in such a way that any continuation of it is just going to feel like treading water. We're just going to do the same kind of thing again, But what I do, because it's Malloy. He turns Malloy. Malloy goes through the same process. It's the same kind of thing as with Louis, only he's probably a little less mopey. Lestat gets bored of him and kills him eventually. Actually, now I'm just pitching you what I was going to say, which was just going to be, the real, where are they now type deal is Lestat turns Malloy because Malloy is going to ask for it. And before they get to the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge, Lestat's going to throw his ass into the water.
Yeah,
he's going to be too fucking annoying to deal with. Yeah, he's past that. from there, Lestat keeps his car, learns how to survive in modern day, gets himself an agent, and the next thing you know, he's booking movies, baby. He goes by the name Tom Cruise. It's amazing.
He creates his own religion called Scientology.
Right. He's got to lean it away. He was going to call it vampirology, but it was too on the nose.
Too on the nose.
So.
He marries many famous actresses, but never outruns the gay rumors, no matter how attractive the women are. Poor Lestat.
And
he should be the mopey one.
Finally has to admit that he's only 5'7".
Well, through the power of magic of film, he's pretty short. He's pretty short.
And lifts in his shoes. By the way, it's just a little Tom Cruise anecdote. I told you guys I've been watching that show English Teacher on FX, which is so fucking good. There's a great bit toward the end of it where the main character is also like kind of shorter, and they're trying to secure some grants or funds or something for the school. And so this woman suggests she brings him lifts to put in his shoes, and he's like, "I'm not wearing fucking lifts. I'm not doing that." And she goes, "What? Are you too good for lifts? You too good for the same thing as fucking Tom Cruise, the star of fucking Valkyrie? You can't wear shit lifts in your shoes." And before she even finishes, he goes, "Valkyrie? Really? That's the first movie you thought of when it came to Tom Cruise?" That's the first thing.
Well, all right.
Very good.
What is the first movie you think of when you think of Tom Cruise? I'm curious.
Top Gun.
Top Gun.
The Top Gun?
It's Top Gun. 100%. Yeah.
Tanner?
Or Risky Business.
Yeah?
Oh God, Mission Impossible.
I could see that.
That's fair. I can see that too.
For me, it's A Few Good Men. It'll always be just because of that scene.
Prior to us watching Top Gun for the show, not this past year, but the year before, it would have been A Few Good Men. It would have 100% been that final scene between him and Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
That's the first thing that comes to mind.
Oh, I get chills just thinking about it. God.
So fucking good,
This is
man.
why we couldn't have this movie during Tom Cruise month, because we couldn't just pile on the Tom Cruise good things. We had to
so many things.
We had to vary it a little bit, and I think we did a good job of that. But
Right,
that's
like Legend.
He was very handsome in that movie.
Yeah. He was.
He would have made a great Link. Like, seriously, if you had made a live action Zelda at that time.
We talked about it.
Yeah, that was your Link right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're severing this link between us and you, the listener. But we'll be back for more Podzilla this week. Don't forget, our next review is Tales from the Crypt presents Demon Knight, which we have not watched yet or reviewed.
Yeah.
But
no, and we don't know each other. Hi.
Crypt Keepers are badass. That'll be later this week, and we'll also have a special edition of After Dark coming too. And these guys don't even know what that means, and I'll tell them after this show. So, next week, what do we got? We got more movies.
Yeah, next week, your Shannon's employee pick will be Trick or Treat. Zach Kurgis is coming back to cover that with us, a little anthology horror series, which I've never seen, so I'm very excited to watch. And then I think I will too. I've heard nothing but good things. And then one of our only, if maybe literally our only horror movie, Interview with the Vampire is kind of a throw up there. Blade. We're watching Blade. Blade is going to be our third or our fourth vampire movie, which again I've also never seen, which blows my own mind.
I am predicting you were probably going to give Blade either one thumb down or one up, one down, just because it's not bad, but the other Blade 2 is so much better. But boy, if you don't think Blade is a horror movie, wait till you see Pearl. Ugh.
And then by the way, past that we have 1 week to go. We've got Sinners on tap again as our final vampire film. We still don't know what
I haven't revealed it.
Is going to be.
I haven't revealed it.
Surprise.
Yeah, I want everyone. Yeah. I'll be as surprised as everybody when I figure it out, and I'll let you know. That's going to do it for us tonight. We'll see you guys back for Demon Knight, and until then, the balcony's closed. All right, Double H, take us out.
Evil is a point of view. God kills indiscriminately, and so shall we. For no creatures under God are as we are, none so like him as ourselves.